Hello everyone, welcome to Narayana IAS Academy. My name is Shubham Sagar and in today's daily news analysis, we'll be taking 5 articles of Hindu as well as Indian Express combined. So if we talk about the first article of the day, that is 29th August 2024, this particular article is on Indian Express page number 12 and here we'll be talking about, this is an explained section of Indian Express, we'll be understanding Himachal Pradesh Women's Marriage Bill, will it become an act and what are the issues plaguing this particular bill. This particular marriage issue is in concurrent list. So what does it signify? All these talks we'll be having in this particular article. If we talk about the second article of the day, which is on again Indian Express page number 12 only. So here we'll be trying to understand humanoid skull and Gaganyaan, interrelationship between them. What is ISRO doing here? What is this Gaganyaan mission? What is the uncrewed part? What is the crewed part? What is Vyomitra? All these discussions will be happening in this second article. If we talk about the third article of the day, which is on Hindu page number 8, here we'll understand democratic backlash in South Asia. And we will also be doing a comparative analysis of India and Pakistan political trajectory. If we talk about the fourth article of the day, which is on Hindu page number 9, here we'll talk about carbon market. What is a carbon market? What is PAT, perform, achieve and trade? What are these words? India wants to become a low carbon economy. What is low carbon economy? All these terms will be discussed in this particular article. If we talk about the last article of the day, which is on Hindu page number 8, here we'll talk about India's fight against TB, tuberculosis. So if let's say we have 100 patients globally of TB, around a quarter of it is in India. So it's a big issue here and what India is doing currently and what India needs to do better. We'll be talking about this in this particular article. Once we are done with these 5 articles, we'll solve 5 prelims practice question and 1 mains practice question because as we have discussed earlier, practice makes a man as well as a woman perfect. So let's get started. If we talk about the first article of the day, Himachal Pradesh Assembly, they passed a very forward-looking bill where they have increased the age of marriage of girls from 18 to 21. So many people are very happy and there are very positive outcomes which will come out of this particular bill if it converts into an act, and women will get much more time to complete their education. Plus, if a girl is getting married early, then there are health implications also for that particular girl. So the point here is there are certain technical or political or let's say legislative complications involved in this particular act or in this particular whole scenario, and we have to understand these political complications via this particular article. So questions related to, and here we are talking about Indian society, social justice, women empowerment. So question related to women empowerment has been asked in UPSC 2019. Empowering women is the key to control the population growth. So directly, indirectly, this article also in a way, if you say, there has been observations, various observations by various committees that if a girl is getting married early, she is producing more children or she's forced to produce more children. So again, that is a different context altogether. Let's focus on the context at hand. So hope you're understanding the context or the scenario here. Himachal Pradesh is the first state in our country which has increased the age of or marriageable age of girls from 18 to 21. But the situation or the whole scenario is it's not what it's looked like. It's not like they have passed the bill, it has become an act now. There are certain complications, we have to understand that, or those complications rather from exam perspective, from UPSC perspective. So Himachal Pradesh Assembly passed a bill raising the minimum age of marriage for women or for women from 18 to 21. The bill called Prohibition of Child Marriage, again 2024 was passed by voice vote. So now, important point. This particular act of Himachal Pradesh amends the Prohibition of Child Marriage Act originally passed by Parliament in 2006. You must be thinking that sir, this is a state bill, state act, a state bill rather, because it has not yet become an act. Why it has not become an act, we'll understand it. So how a state bill is amending a parliamentary act? So for that you have to understand that marriage and related concepts associated with marriage are in concurrent list. So when a subject is in concurrent list, that means both union and state can make laws on it. So child marriage and Prohibition of Child Marriage, PCM Act has already been passed by Parliament in 2006. Since marriage is a concurrent list subject, Parliament has made a law. And in that law, for men, it is 21 years minimum age for marriage and for women, it is 18 years. But now Himachal Pradesh is doing like away with this whole different criteria. For both men and women, 21 years is the minimum age. So what Himachal Pradesh government is doing is they are trying to amend this Prohibition of Child Marriage Act passed by Parliament, where the minimum age for marriage for women is, or for female is 18, not 21. Hope you're understanding this. So in this particular act, which is the Himachal Pradesh bill, what amendments they are proposing to the PCM Act? Definition of child. The bill redefines a child. Even before I tell you this, understand this. So there is a subject which is in concurrent list. Both state and central government can make law on it rather. So now they both have made it. But there is a but scenario. If state government makes an act or proposes a bill which contradicts central law, then in that scenario, that particular bill will be reserved by governor and it will be taken to, or it will be given to president for consideration. If president gives assent to that particular bill, then it will become an act under Article 254 Clause 2. So there are certain issues here. Hope you're understanding this. So amendments to the PCM Act. Definition of a child. So according to this, both male and female under 21 years of age is child. And if they're getting married below 21, that is a child marriage. So hope you're understanding this. This is from the criteria of marriage. So if you're getting married at 20, in Himachal Pradesh, both male and female will be considered as a child. So definition of child marriage. The bill amends the definition to ensure that new marriage applies universally, overriding any contrary laws. So that means 21 for both, male and female. No confusion at all. No 21-18 scenario. Annulment period extension. Let's say you got married in your childhood at 13 years or 14 years and you become adult, or let's say 18 you reached. And then it is said that even when you have reached 18, after till 5 years, you can apply. So understand this. The time frame for filing a petition to annul a child marriage is extended from 2 years to 5 years after attaining majority. So that means earlier you could file a case for annulling a child marriage till 20 because you will become adult at 18 according to this. But now this has been increased to 5 years from 2 years. So that means you can file a petition to annul your child marriage till 23. 18 plus 5, 23. Simple maths. There is no complication here. Reasons for passing this particular bill by Himachal Pradesh government, because they were saying that if a girl is getting married early, she is not getting enough time, enough opportunity to pay attention to her education or career prospect or physical development. Early marriage also is linked to negative health impacts to women. Hope you can understand this. Producing more child, impacting their reproductive health, mental health, so many different facets are involved here. Now constitutional provisions related to the article, and then we'll understand the basic issue here, which I have already told you, that state government law is contradicting a central government law, and both of them had made a law or proposed a bill rather on a subject which is in concurrent list. Article 200 describes governor's role in assenting, reconsidering or reserving a bill for the president. 254 Clause 1, Clause 2, pay attention here, states that if a state law contradicts a central law on a concurrent list subject, the conflicting part of the state law is void unless approved by the president. Here, the contradicting part is marriageable age for women or a girl, 21 years. It is contradicting the central law where the minimum age is 18 years for women, marriageable age. Article 252 or 254 rather, Clause 2, allows the president to validate the repugnant provision in the state law by giving assent. So that's what will happen in this scenario. So it will take some time. This Himachal Pradesh bill is still a bill. It has not become an act. It will become an act once president gives assent to it. Since marriage and related subjects are in the concurrent list of the Constitution, both the central and state governments can pass law on these topics. The bill which contradicts the existing central law, hope you are understanding the contradiction, 1821, must be sent to the governor, who will then reserve it for president assent as per Article 254 Clause 2 of the Constitution. The bill will become law only after president gives her assent. So hope you are understanding. The same thing has happened with Uttarakhand Uniform Civil Code bill as well. So hope the whole situation is crystal clear to you now. If we talk about the second article of the day, we all know about Gaganyaan. ISRO wants to send human space mission, like India human space mission. But before we do that, we want to check with our uncrewed mission and via a particular humanoid robot, what will happen in space. And then only, because safety is a very important criteria here. So this particular article is related to that uncrewed mission which will be sent before the crewed mission under Gaganyaan. And here we'll talk about a humanoid skull, and here we'll talk about a partial humanoid, what is that and how it will help us, it will help ISRO, it will help Gaganyaan in attaining their aim. So there are different keywords here: ISRO, Gaganyaan, humanoid skull. Let's understand this, and questions related to manned space mission and unmanned space mission has already been asked by UPSC. So what is the context here? ISRO's uncrewed, pay attention to these keywords. These keywords are actually important. Uncrewed mission, not crude, uncrewed Gaganyaan mission in 2025 will carry a female half humanoid named Vyomitra. They can easily ask you, like, what is Vyomitra? Vyomitra is female half humanoid. Half humanoid means they will resemble human in some ways, like they can move, they will have limbs and all these structure, but not completely human. Hope you are understanding this. So, female half humanoid named Vyomitra will be going to space, and ISRO will evaluate Vyomitra's performance to understand the impact of space travel on humans before India's first crewed mission later in 2025. 3 people will be going there via means Gaganyaan mission, and they will be staying in space for 7 days. So these are some keywords. But before we send this, space mission, a crewed mission, we need to test the whole scenario, and that's why this half humanoid named Vyomitra is very important for us. So Vyomitra, you can understand what is this. This is a half humanoid, female half humanoid robot, and again, what is the necessity of humanoids in space? We'll understand here. So Vyomitra's design, who designed it? So Vyomitra designed by ISRO's Inertial System Unit at Vikram Sarabhai Space Center in Thiruvananthapuram, Kerala. You don't need to remember each and every keyword here. Just understand. They can ask you, like, what is Vyomitra? Where is Vikram Sarabhai Space Center? Kerala. And what is it? It's a half humanoid. It resembles a human. It has arm, it has torso, shoulders, etc., face and neck. What is the use of humanoids in space? Humanoids are robotic systems resembling humans used to assist astronauts by performing repetitive or dangerous tasks in space, such as cleaning solar panels or fixing equipment. And that's why we need Vyomitra. Also to understand what will be the impact of this mission on Vyomitra. Thereby, we can understand what can happen on a crewed mission in Gaganyaan. Purpose of Vyomitra. The 2025 mission is a technology demonstration for Vyomitra, where the robot will perform operations, monitor system and communicate with Earth-based mission control, thereby giving us more idea about the upcoming crewed mission. So now let's talk about Gaganyaan. There are certain keywords here. For how many days? 3-man mission will be going there. And what are the aims and ambitions? Whose help India is taking, ISRO is taking, and like Russia is involved, France is involved. What is Russia's agency known as Roscosmos? So all these terms are important. So Gaganyaan is India's ambitious human spaceflight mission led by ISRO. Mission was initially planned in 2021, but then COVID happened, and now the first uncrewed mission is expected in 2025, and after that in the same year, crewed mission is also expected. ISRO will launch this particular Gaganyaan via GSLV Mark III. So PSLV and GSLV. So this is your homework, and if you know the basic difference, PSLV Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle and this GSLV Geosynchronous Satellite Launch Vehicle. There is a question for you, and you can post it in the comment section. There's a guy, and I'm very impressed by that guy or girl, but I think that he's a guy or girl. He can comment in the comment section, but he answers every question. Very, very proud of you. And again, you or other people also can answer what is the basic difference between PSLV and GSLV and which is more powerful. So GSLV Mark III will be used for Gaganyaan. The crewed mission will carry 3 Indian astronauts. Keywords, key terms, numbers, keep this in mind. Referred to as Gaganauts. So Gaganauts, 3 Indian astronauts. They will be there in space for up to 7 days. And astronauts will orbit the Earth at an altitude of around 300 to 400 kilometers. So keywords, pay attention to them. Gaganyaan collaboration, as we have discussed earlier, that ISRO is partnering with or taking certain amount of help from Russia's Roscosmos and France CNES. Sometimes in prelims, they can give you this Roscosmos, CNES, and they will tell you which country they belong to, match the following, or A1, B2, C3. So pay attention here how they can frame questions. More about this news. So Vyomitra skull. We are talking about this half humanoid, how it has been made, and the skull has been made. It was recently designed using an aluminium alloy, which is very, very flexible, very light, very heat resistant, and high strength as well it has. And these things are needed because we're going in space. Everything matters. Each and every micrometer, millimeter, height, weight, everything matters in space. So the skull was created using additive manufacturing, where you're creating layer by layer, and thereby you have created this is a 3D printing technology, rather, additive manufacturing, and it gives you an idea like something real is being created. It will create an illusion. Even if you, that thing is not real per se, it will give you an illusion that it is real. That's how it is created. Layer by layer, dimensions are added, right? Which allows significant weight reduction. So this is this particular skull which has been designed, Vyomitra skull. And conclusion is these lightweight yet sturdy materials are crucial for space missions because each and every micrometer, millimeter matters to minimize payload weight, reduce fuel requirement, and ensures rocket efficiency. In the past, you may have heard about that just some micrometers, millimeters error or something led to explosion and all those things. So very precision technology, or precise technology rather, is needed here, and these lightweight technology is need of the hour when it comes to space missions. If we talk about the third article of the day, now this article is more important from perspective, and although it has a little bit of political connotation, but we'll not go there. What is important from exam perspective? What is the meaning of this particular term, democratic backlash? What does it mean? Here there is a comparative analysis of India and Pakistan political journey. And it is being said in this particular article, again, I'm telling you, it has a certain amount of political connotation. We have to ignore that political connotation. It is being said that there is certain amount of democratic resurgence which is being seen in our country, India, as well as Pakistan. Although India is not equal to Pakistan, we can never equate ourselves with Pakistan. But here the common term which is being used is democratic resurgence. Okay. So terms like democratic backlash, local self-government, these kind of terms has been asked by UPSC earlier. So what is the basic context here? So topic examines the growing democratic backlash in South Asia, particularly India and Pakistan. Social forces are increasingly resisting authoritarian trends. So generally what happens when you will read about different parties also in India, we are not naming any party, but you will realize that each party has one or two leaders who are calling the shots, which is nothing but promotion of authoritarian tendencies. So it is said that in our country also, when a government gets a lot of majority, lots of seats, so majoritarian tendency increases, authoritarian tendencies increases. But now in our country, as well as in Pakistan, we are seeing resurgence of democratic activism through like electoral outcomes, public protest and digital mobilization. Even what we are seeing currently in Kolkata, in Bengal, that is also an example of democratic resurgence. People are like raising their voice. Although we should not wait for such events to happen before raising our voice. So the term democratic backlash refers to the resurgence of democratic forces, and just understand this term. What does it mean? They can directly ask you what is democratic backlash. Resurgence of democratic forces and public movements against rising authoritarianism. And in both India and Pakistan, we are talking about India, shift from India's historically robust democracy towards a more centralized and authoritarian model. And it is generally said, and this is not a new phenomena. We have seen emergency in 1970s, and generally, when a government gets a lot of seats, a lot of votes, then there is a tendency. History teaches us that there is a tendency of that government being majoritarian or centralized. So again, you can take it with a pinch of salt, this particular article, understand the keywords involved here. And Pakistan political forces and military influence, again, a struggle is going on. And then this particular article is doing a comparison. Historical legacy, authoritarian tendencies, middle class attitudes. So historical legacy, strong democratic foundation when we talk about India. On the other hand, Pakistan has always been dominated by military rule. Authoritarian tendencies when we talk about recent years have seen a shift to more centralized and authoritarian model. Press freedom index, India's ranking has reduced to a great extent, which shows that our press has been compromised to a certain extent. All these things we are just talking about from whatever sources we have. Then Central Information Commissioners, their power have been compromised by different acts. All these things shows that there is a shift towards more centralized and authoritarian model in India. And Pakistan is a different case altogether. Persistent military influence in politics despite a growing democratic transition. So middle class attitude, historically ambivalent. If we talk about India's middle class, they have been ambivalent, sometimes supportive of authoritarianism, particularly during emergency. Sometimes we are not. It is said that there are phases which happens in our country. Sometimes we'll support authoritarianism, other times will not, and this will go like a to and fro oscillatory motion. When you talk about Pakistan, they have been generally conservative, often favoring military rule over chaotic democratic governance, though the younger generation currently is very critical. Again, if we talk about India here, this is India and Pakistan. So democratic backlash is evident through electoral outcomes challenging centralized control. The current government in 2024, they have not got as many seats as they have got like in the previous 2019 elections. All these things shows that, or is an example of democratic backlash according to this particular author. Significant public protest when we talk about Pakistan, military rule, against military rule protests are being done, and there are movements like lawyer movement, etc., which is going on in Pakistan. Again, you may disagree with some of the points raised by this author in this particular article, but you have to understand what this article is trying to say. We can always agree to disagree. Role of digital spaces, increasing use of digital platforms by citizens. YouTube, you have channels, you have so many platforms raising their voice against growing authoritarianism. And digital spaces are also becoming crucial in mobilizing public opinion. That is happening in Pakistan as well. So what is the way forward when we talk about strengthening democratic institution in South Asia? And that is actually very crucial to counter authoritarian tendencies, because time and again these things will happen. History repeat itself. This includes ensuring the independence of judiciary, upholding press freedom index. We have talked about press freedom index rather, how India is not performing very well in that. So we have to uphold press freedom. We have to safeguard civil liberties, promoting civic education and greater public participation. International community should actively support democratic processes and addressing economic inequality and promoting digital literacy. Economic inequality, unemployment, those are very pertinent issue in our country, and sometimes these kind of issues also leads to protest backlashes. Political parties must reform to become more democratic and responsive. Just like we're saying that you take into account any political party you want. One or two people are calling the shots. That is not the correct way forward according to second ARC as well. Our political party should become more democratic and responsive. If we talk about the fourth article of the day, establishing a carbon market. Now this article is related to environment, and India wants to become a low carbon economy. So there are terms here. What is a low carbon economy? What is carbon market? What is carbon credit? What is PAT, perform, achieve, trade? What is emission trading? So we need to understand these words. We need to understand these terms because question related to carbon credit has already been asked. So let's try to understand, and let's try to understand the context also of this particular article. In her budget speech, so her refers to Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman. She emphasized that India is committed to move towards a low carbon economy. What does it mean? That we will, like whatever activities we are involved in, industrial, manufacturing, etc., will try to emit less and less carbon dioxide, and thereby we will gradually transition to towards becoming a low carbon economy. So what is a low carbon economy? A low carbon economy is an economic system that aims to minimize CO2 emissions and other GHGs, that is greenhouse gases, which are the primary drivers of climate change. The transition to a low carbon economy involves reducing the carbon intensity, how much carbon emissions, CO2 emissions, GHG emissions, methane emissions we are doing in different economic activities, industrial activities, manufacturing activities, services sector, etc. So carbon intensity reduced, that means we have to do what? Less carbon is emitted per unit of economic output. That is the basic meaning of reducing the carbon intensity. Now there is a term here, PAT, perform, achieve and trade. Please understand. So there will be certain terms here like PAT and then carbon market. We have to understand the difference. What is the difference between PAT and carbon market? So, and you have to understand, in most of the books, this is very technical. Most of the people don't understand it. So PAT scheme, energy efficiency trading mechanism by Bureau of Energy Efficiency. Unlike trading, now let's try to understand it. Energy efficiency, and it focuses on this, and they are like industries are given specific energy saving targets. Let's understand. So let's say there is an industry which was emitting 100 units of carbon in 2024. You have to understand, or 2023. So they have been given a target that you have to emit, let's say, 60 units this year. Okay. So specific energy saving targets they have been given, that try to emit 60 units in 2024. I'm just giving you a rough idea. And let's say they emitted only 40 units. Okay. Or let's say they were emitting 100 units in the previous year, and they have been given a target that you reduce your energy saving by a certain amount. And again, 60 unit was the target, that you have to emit 60 units this year. And they emitted only 40 units. So they have exceeded their target by 20 units. This 20 unit, they can sell it to other companies which have fall short of their targets. Again, let's try to understand. 100 unit was the emission in 2023. They have been given a target by BE that you have to emit 60 units this year. If you are emitting lesser than that, then whatever targets you are exceeding, you can trade the surplus energy. You may feel like, so this is reducing, but hope you are understanding. 60 units they had to emit, they emitted only 40. So they have 20 units surplus. They can sell it to other companies who fall short of their goals. Let's say there was another company, they were also given a target of 60 units, they emitted 80. So they have fall short of their target by 20 units. They can buy it from this particular company. So this is perform, achieve and trade. On the other hand, carbon market, what it is? So it operates on the principle of cap and trade, where a cap is set on total emissions and companies are given allowances or credits representing the right to emit. So let's say, let's try to understand this. Carbon market and this particular PAT, they all have similar kind of scenarios. They have similar criteria, but here there is no cap as such. So what is happening is they have been given a target that you can emit 60 units and they have emitted only 40 units. So 20 units they can sell. In this scenario, similar kind of scenario is there, but there is a cap here that you can emit only this much. Here, even if they had emitted more, there was no such thing. They could have bought it from other. But here, the criteria is there is a limit. There is a target which has been set. You cannot go beyond that target. There is a cap which has been set. If you means emit less than that, sell whatever is left over to the companies who have violated their target. So in a way it is similar, but here a cap is set, here a target is set. You cannot violate that. If you are violating that, some penalties will be imposed on you. So this is carbon market, very similar to PAT. Unlike PAT, here there is a cap. Again, very similar mechanism. If you are using less certificates, less carbon credits, you can sell it. That is the basic mechanism involved in both PAT as well as carbon market. So if we talk about international examples and comparison, EU's emission trading system, EU ETS, is the world's largest and most established carbon market, which is looking at these carbon credits. Carbon credit in simple terms is, let's say I was supposed to emit 40 units, I emitted only 20 units. These 20 units remaining is my carbon credit. Okay. And all these things in European Union, that is being managed by ETS, that is emission trading system. ETS sets a cap on emission from over 11,000 power stations and industrial plants in 30 countries, and they are becoming an example for other parts of the world, other countries as well, driving significant emission reduction while fostering economic growth. If we talk about the last article of the day, sharpening India's anti-tuberculosis fight, TB. So here we have to understand TB, which kind of disease it is. It is caused by bacteria or protozoa or virus. What is causing it? What is the issue here? If global burden is 100, or 100 patients are affected by it, why are 25 in India? 25%, a quarter of global burden. So what are the things which are impacting India's TB program and different initiatives taken by our government, different governments? So we have to understand different initiatives taken at the global level to combat TB and different initiatives taken at our level, national level, to combat TB. Apart from the other things related to this article. So questions related to diseases which can be transmitted from one person to another, chikungunya, hepatitis B, HIV, AIDS, all these kind of questions related to diseases have been asked by UPSC earlier. So what is the context here of this article? The article discusses the need for India to revamp its TB elimination program by adopting new innovative treatments and strategies, particularly for drug-resistant TB. Drug-resistant TB is on which the medicines are not working because the bacteria has developed a resistance towards it rather. So now from this particular sentence which I used earlier, you would have got the idea that it is a bacterial infection. Believe me, they can ask you this. It is caused by a protozoa or virus. So you have to understand it is a bacterial infection. And when somebody is coughing or sneezing, and that's why you may have seen people using masks now. So many times we are confused, why is he or she wearing a mask, even though COVID era is hopefully gone now? Maybe because, and the reason is, sometimes these tiny droplets from the cough or sneezes can cause TB in other person, and coughs or sneezes can cause other diseases also. So that's why you have to understand how TB is caused. It is a bacterial infection spread through inhaling tiny droplet from the coughs or sneezes of an infected person, caused by a bacterium called as Mycobacterium tuberculosis. And again, TB is the 13th leading cause of death, even if you don't remember these facts and figures. But you have to understand this is the second leading infectious killer after COVID-19. It kills more person than even HIV AIDS. So that's how deadly it is. Is it curable or non-curable? It is curable. But sometimes you don't even know about it. There are people who are not even diagnosed. They don't know they have TB. So these things, these scenarios we have to take into consideration. That's what this article is talking about. Transmission. TB spreads from person to person through the air when people with lung TB cough, and this lung TB is known as pulmonary TB. Understand the terms here. And the other kind of TBs which affect other organs, that is extrapulmonary TB. So they can ask you, pulmonary TB is talking about which particular organ of the body? Lungs. And TB spreads from person to person through air. You will say, yes, this statement is correct. So this particular image is telling you about the symptoms, transmission and treatment, caused by bacteria, transmission, how it happens. Don't sneeze on somebody's face. That is not very good. And it is curable. There is a standard 6 months course of 4 antimicrobial drugs. It is curable. Do remember that as well. And then let's talk some more things about TB, and then we'll talk about initiatives taken at global level, initiatives taken at national level. It is treatable and curable. There is a vaccine, which is BCG vaccine, bacillus calmette urine. Again, phonetics, if it is wrong, pardon me, but yeah. BCG vaccine is there, although how much it works and how well it works, it varies from location to location. And according to different observation, the more away you are from equator, the higher is the efficiency of this BCG vaccine. It works awesome in temperate countries or the countries which are located around the Arctic region or above, let's say 30° north, like UK, Norway, Sweden and Denmark. But the countries which are nearer to equator like India, Kenya or Malawi, here there is little or no efficacy of this BCG vaccine. Why is it happening? What is the greater mechanics or biology behind it? Scientists are still working on it. So drug-resistant TB are also there. Apart from, let's say, BCG vaccine, which has variable amount of success, similarly, drug-resistant TB. There are certain bacteria which has become resistant to the drugs used to treat TB. So then that drug will not work. You have to find something else. So all these are issues. Status of TB in India. It kills an estimated 480,000 Indians annually, about 5 lakh people, 1,400 deaths per day. And then that is the scenario. That is a very worrying scenario. There are million missing TB cases. We have just discussed it. There's so many people among us who have TB, but they don't know about it. And unintentionally, they are also spreading TB among us. So, which are either undiagnosed or inadequately diagnosed and treated in the private sector. These are million missing. Million means 10 lakh. As of 2021, India had an estimated 2.64 million TB cases, accounting for 25% of global TB burden. That's what we have discussed. 100 TB cases in world, 25 are in India. Remember this fact. This is an important fact. Even if you forget other facts, that's fine. But this is an important fact which you should not miss. Global initiatives, global fund, worldwide movement, which is targeting 3 diseases, HIV, TB and malaria. Remember it? Because Bill Gates was involved in this particular global fund among other people, prominent people. Single largest channel of additional money for global TB control. Then you have Stop TB Partnership by United Nations. So sometimes they can ask you, Stop TB Partnership is an initiative of which organization? Then there are other organizations also. The major organization is UN. SDG goal, Sustainable Development Goal, 17 goals, 169 target if I'm not wrong. And they're also talking about removing TB by 2030. India is like, no, we will not go till 2030. We will eliminate TB by 2025 only. 2025 is not that far. Will we be able to achieve that aim? That is a question to ponder upon. Now you have to answer it in the comment section if you know it. Which SDG out of the 17 SDGs talks about health and which one talks about education as well? They are very near to each other. So which SDG talks about health? Which SDG talks about education? If you know it, you can post it in the comment section. India's initiative. So we have Pradhan Mantri TB Mukt Bharat Abhiyan launched in 2020. And which is the nodal ministry, MOHFW, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. And then here there are components, Nikshay Mitra, Nikshay Digital Portal. Nikshay Mitra means additional diagnostic. The digital portal means community support will be there. Other people who are suffering from TB, you can come together, you can have a discussion and then you can gain more out of it. Then Nikshay Poshak Yojana, 500 rupees per month will be given to you. TB elimination program is there. That India will eliminate TB or reduce TB burden by 2025 only. 5 years ahead of SDG target. National strategic plans for TB and then TB Harega, Desh Jeetega campaign. All these are initiatives related to TB. Now, TB Harega, Desh Jeetega campaign, 3 strong pillars. They can ask you, which of the following are not one of the 3 strong pillars of TB Harega, Desh Jeetega? Although that would be a very tough question, but still you should know. Clinical approach, public health component and active community participation. So we have done 5 articles. Now it's time for 5 prelims practice questions and 1 mains practice question. And I've told you again and again in previous DNA also, whatever marks you are getting, please post it in the comment section. It should be a habit now because prelims 2025 is not that far and you have to start doing this practice thing. You have to start posting your marks. You have to become more disciplined from now onwards. So without wasting any time, let's see the questions now. First question, what is democratic backlash? We have talked about it. That article was very political in nature, but we have taken points from it. What does it mean? So what is democratic backlash? Increase in grassroots movements and public pushback rather against perceived authoritarian governance. That is the answer here. Second question, what is a carbon market? A system where government sells carbon dioxide directly to industry. See the options here. Pause me. The answer is a market where countries or entities trade carbon credit or allowances to meet their carbon emission reduction targets based on a cap and trade principle. That is carbon market. Third question, which of the following statement is true regarding the perform, achieve and trade scheme? It is a traditional emission trading system focused on capping and then under PAT, industries are allowed to emit, see the options here. It is an energy efficiency trading mechanism in India focusing on improving energy efficiency in energy intensive industries. So unlike carbon market where there was a cap that you can emit only 100 units, here you are given certificates that, let's say 40 units certificate has been given to you. If you're using only 20, you can sell the remaining 20. So there is no cap as such. Cap is there in carbon market. No cap is there in PAT, perform, achieve and trade. With reference to tuberculosis, consider the following statement. Caused by protozoa. Again, you can pause me. This is wrong, so eliminate these. Bacteria. Spread through air, right? No vaccine. There is vaccine, BCG, although variable success. The answer is B2 only. All the questions we have done up until now has answer B. So if there is some student who is just not knowing anything, still taking B, he has a very high probability of getting good marks today. But that won't happen in every, like that can happen in exams also, like you have more A's and all those, but that happens very rarely. So again, fifth question, Vyomitra designed by ISRO's inertial system. Have a look at Vyomitra and Gaganyaan mission. The answer is, third statement is wrong. It will not be carrying for up to 30 days, maximum 7 days. So eliminate third, you're getting the answer. Answer is A, it is not B. So 4B1, A. Now mains practice question. Discuss the significance of prohibition of child marriage, Himachal Pradesh Amendment Bill 2024 in the context of gender equality and women empowerment. Analyze the constitutional challenges. Here you will talk about how it is increasing the age from 18 to 21, how it will help women because then they can be involved in higher education, jobs, how it is also affecting their, or it will also positively impact their health, mental health, physical health, biological health, reproductive health, all these things. But there are challenges because there is already an act where the minimum marriageable age for women or girl is 18 years. So now, according to Article 254, Clause 2, this particular bill will be sent by governor to president. All these things you have to talk about here in this particular mains question. Significance, introduction, you will introduce this Child Marriage Act or bill rather, which has been proposed by Himachal Pradesh Legislative Assembly, raising the marriage age for women to 21 and redefining a child, and significance in gender equality, how it will help women in different arena, be it educational arena or let's say career opportunities, health and overall empowerment. And then constitutional challenges. Because it is contradicting a central law on the concurrent list subject, it has to be sent to president. And only when president will give assent to it under Article 254 Clause 2, then only it will become an act. So that is the challenge, and similar kind of challenge was faced by the earlier Uniform Civil Code Bill, which was passed by one of the state governments, right? So all these things you have to talk about here, and interesting question, important question, and we have discussed all these parameters in the first article of the day. So that's it for today's DNA. If you like the video, do like, share and subscribe, and please post your marks in the comment section and also answer the questions which I have asked earlier, right? Take care, be blessed, see you soon.